Nagbabayad ko. Nagbabayad ko.
Sige na, bagay.
Tingnan ko na.
Wow. Bago ka mo?
Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring against Barrios is a strange, risky move. The 46-year-old former 8-division world champion, who last fought in 2021, is stepping back into the spotlight for a shot at the WBC welterweight title, despite being out of the rankings for years. His recent training clips show flashes of the old Pacquiao, still fast, still sharp. But the doubts are still coming in from every corner. Age is a stubborn opponent, and many in the boxing world question whether Pacquiao has anything left to offer or if he's simply chasing one final payday.
This whole shit with Pacquiao and Barrios, man. Mauricio just want those little sanctioning fees, man. That's all it is. They just want a little sanctioning fees off that Pacquiao purse. I'm not with it. I don't think it's cool. You know, there's other people that kind of deserve that a little better. I personally wanted Boots and Barrios to clash. You know, he got a fight on the way. You know what I'm saying? But it's just stupid. I don't see the fucking point in that fight at all. I mean, if it happens, it happens. At the end of the day, he was a generational talent.
The WBC, known for its sometimes questionable decisions, has ranked Pacquiao at number 5, a move that has sparked backlash. It feels like a shortcut, a fast pass to a title shot that other active fighters would have to bleed for. Ricky Hatton, a former rival and respected voice in the sport, has openly criticized the decision, pointing out that it sets a dangerous precedent. Retired fighters, especially those pushing 50, shouldn't be thrown into the mix with younger, hungrier champions without at least a few tune-up fights. But this is Manny Pacquiao, a fighter whose entire career has been about doing the impossible. The question is, can he pull it off one more time?
Yeah, it's surprising. Obviously, I know Manny very well. You know, he's a true competitor. He's a guy that if you put something in his head, and obviously to create more history, he's a guy that's going to give everything and, you know, try his best. That's what Manny, one thing I always learned with Manny is give 110% and try your best no matter what. So yeah, he's going to give it his all. Again, you can't beat Father Time, but Father Time is hard, and it was very hard watching him fight Lucas. You could see it, and then watching the exhibition he had with the Korean guy with all the...
Physically, Pacquiao is not the fighter he once was. His last official bout, a clear decision loss to Yordenis Ugas, exposed the limitations that come with age. His speed, once his most lethal weapon, looked diminished. His legs, the engine that powered his relentless, unpredictable attacks, seemed worn out. Fans and analysts were quick to dismiss his excuse of calf cramps as an age-related decline, a natural part of the aging process that even the greatest fighters can't avoid. The recent training footage does little to ease those concerns. Yes, Pacquiao's hands still move with the rapid-fire precision that made him a nightmare for generations of fighters. But his footwork, the critical component of his style, looked sluggish. Several comments online bluntly pointed this out. "Legs are gone," one fan noted. Another added, "He got tired. First time I've ever seen him get fatigued hitting the bags." These observations strike at the heart of what makes this comeback so risky. It's not just about how fast he can throw punches. It's about whether his body can keep up with the demands of a 12-round war against a younger, more physically prime opponent.
It's 100% disrespectful. This is a clown fight. This is a more clown fight than the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. This is an outrage. People should be up in arms about this fight. This is so disrespectful. Barrios loses this fight, he should quit boxing. You let Manny Pacquiao, an old dude who stopped boxing, and then you're his first fight back? You are disrespectful as a champ.
Mario Barrios, for all his flaws, is not a fighter to be taken lightly. At 29, he's in his physical prime, a solid, aggressive pressure fighter who likes to push forward and break his opponents down. This style, while seemingly tailor-made for Pacquiao's sharp counterpunching, also presents a significant risk. Pacquiao has always thrived against come-forward fighters, but that was a decade ago, when his legs could dance around the ring for 36 minutes without losing a step. Today, against a younger, fresher champion, those same tactics might leave him exposed.
Title shot for Mario Barrios' WBC, but here it is. Manny Pacquiao, what he's done, what he's given us throughout the years. Manny Pacquiao always comes to fight. Manny is always going to give us 100% of our money's worth. Win, lose, draw, he gets knocked out or he knocks someone else out, we can always count on Manny to fight. And the other reason is Manny Pacquiao brings money to the sport of boxing. He gets everyone paid. He has an entire country behind him and he's heavily...
Shawn Porter, a former two-time welterweight champion and one of the most respected voices in the sport, recently offered a cautiously optimistic take. Speaking on his podcast, Porter suggested that Pacquiao could still pull off a knockout if his timing is intact and his left hand, one of the most dangerous weapons in the sport, finds its mark. He described the matchup as a match made in heaven for Pacquiao, pointing out that Barrios' aggressive style might play right into Pacquiao's hands. But even Porter's assessment carries an underlying tone of uncertainty. He knows, like everyone else, that banking on a 46-year-old to suddenly turn back the clock is a dangerous bet.
Gabe,
What's up?
Pacquiao will give any young fighter today problems, bro.
No, I feel
Because
you.
these young fighters, they don't fight. Pacquiao does. So I'm just saying.
But this is the point I was gonna make. Do you feel it's fair that he's getting a title shot? He's fighting for the world title. It's like, how are you inactive for that long? And now you get to skip the line.
He gets a pass.
He's like, excuse me, scoot over, back.
It's
You
Manny
know what I'm saying?
Pacquiao. He gets a pass. I think so.
And he lost to Ugas.
Meanwhile, Robert Garcia, one of the sport's most respected trainers, has been more blunt in his assessment. He recently expressed concern over Pacquiao's chances, pointing out that Barrios is not just younger, but also physically stronger. Garcia, who has trained champions at every weight class, knows the dangers of putting an aging fighter back in the ring against a hungry contender. Hopefully, he gets in really good shape, but I don't see things going right with Manny at this point anymore, he said in a recent interview. This echoes the fears of many in the sport, that Pacquiao, a legend by any measure, might be walking into a fight that could permanently damage his legacy.
Like I said, looking at his last fight versus Ugas, the last real fight, bro, that was in 2021. That was 4 years ago. Manny Pacquiao's legs were horrible in that fight. Looked like he was stuck in the mud. He was slow. He couldn't get out the way of a right hand to save his life. What is 4 years gonna change? 4 years will make him worse. If he haven't been actively training and facing real competition in the gym, bro, he is gonna get cooked by Mario Barrios.
Financial speculation also swirls around this comeback. Some fans and analysts wonder if Pacquiao's decision to return is motivated by money. Despite his status as one of the highest-earning fighters in history, rumors of financial trouble have followed him for years. He owns multiple properties, including a massive mansion in Beverly Hills, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's financially secure. Boxing is a sport where even the wealthiest champions often find themselves drawn back into the ring, either for the thrill of the fight or to rebuild their fortunes. While Pacquiao's camp insists he's financially stable, the timing of this comeback has only fueled those doubts.
What did you make of that news when you heard it?
Well, it's boxing today, isn't it? To be honest with you, boxing thing. You know, if you can let a 58-year-old Mike Tyson box a Jake Paul, then Manny Pacquiao going back at 46 doesn't look too bad, does it? But if Manny is coming back though, you know, Tyson was coming back fighting Jake Paul. Manny's coming back fighting for the world title. But and I say this with love, you know, how has Manny got his world title shot? He's been retired 6 years. He can't. He's got that on a previous successes, hasn't he? You know, to watch.
Pacquiao supporters will point to Bernard Hopkins, who famously captured a world title at 49, as proof that age doesn't necessarily spell the end for a fighter. But Hopkins never really left the sport, maintaining an intense training regimen and staying sharp between fights. Pacquiao, in contrast, has been focused on his political career, far removed from the grind of daily gym life. It's a significant difference, one that makes this comeback far riskier. For now, all eyes are on July 19th, Pacquiao is back in the gym, his fists still flying at speeds that defy his age, but the doubts are louder than ever.
He sees the need, at his age, 46 years old, to come out of retirement after 4 years out of the game, after 6 years since winning a fight. This also being his second fight, professional fight, in that same span of time, 7 years, 6 years, 7 years. It's a real shame that he feels the need. Look, he probably lost a lot of money in that political campaign. That's not ideal, right? He probably spent a lot of money on that, drew a lot of money out of his bank account. But it's a shame that a boxer who made, let's be honest, about $500 million over the course of his career. And
the Filipino icon and 8-division world champion is preparing to face Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title on July 19th, a matchup that has sparked a heated debate within the boxing world. Oscar De La Hoya, a former opponent of Pacquiao, is one of those expressing concern. The two squared off on December 6, 2008, in a fight that ended with De La Hoya being stopped in his corner, a rare and humbling moment for the Golden Boy. Now, nearly 15 years later, De La Hoya is watching his old rival attempt a comeback, and he's not entirely convinced it's a good idea.
The sport and the long term, it's a short-term play to make money. It will make money. It's just a fight. It's like a concert. All right, it'll be cool. Okay, get to see Pacquiao. And I can't count Manny Pacquiao out because he's Manny Pacquiao. But I think as long as Barrios doesn't freeze up under the moment, as long as Barrios just is Barrios and doesn't overly respect Pacquiao, he's not in awe of Pacquiao, he just treats him like a 46-year-old man, lets his punches go.
That sounds crazy.
I know.
In a recent interview, De La Hoya offered a mix of caution and respect for Pacquiao's decision. He acknowledged that the 46-year-old legend is far from the fighter who once dismantled him in Las Vegas. Obviously, the truth is the truth, De La Hoya said. He's obviously not the same Pacquiao that fought me, that fought the greats. I wish him the best. Be careful up there. He's not young like he used to be. It's a sentiment that echoes through the sport, a blend of admiration for Pacquiao's bravery and unease about the physical risks he faces. Not everyone has been as diplomatic as De La Hoya. DAZN analyst Ade Oladipo was far more direct in his criticism, calling Pacquiao's return embarrassing and bordering on disgraceful. Oladipo, speaking on his podcast, made it clear that he believes the WBC's decision to sanction this fight is a mistake.
I think it's terrible, to be honest with you. I mean, it just sort of sums up the way boxing's going these days. The WBC, I think, is for so many years has been known as the most respected out there. The famous green belt. But boxing just seems to turn the corner. A 58-year-old Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao coming back, not just coming back.
Manny Pacquiao is a volume fighter, Oladipo said, highlighting the physical demands of Pacquiao's style. You can't do that type of output at 46. It's just not going to be there. I find it almost comical what the WBC are doing. For Oladipo, the responsibility to protect fighters from themselves falls on the sanctioning bodies, the very organizations now greenlighting Pacquiao's comeback.
You want to talk about, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, exactly, man. Come on, man. You've been out the game, retired. You haven't just been sitting around looking for fights. You've been retired, and you come back, and they give him a title fight. 46 years old, man. And this man is given a title fight. I mean,
he's trying to be George Foreman.
His frustration is rooted in the idea that fighters, by their nature, will always want to fight, even when it's no longer in their best interest. The WBC, however, has stood firmly behind its decision, pointing to its own rulebook to justify Pacquiao's return. In a tweet, WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman defended the move by referencing Rule 3.25, which allows a former WBC champion of legendary status to return and immediately challenge for a world title without an elimination fight.
Manny Pacquiao will be making his return July 19th to fight for a WBC title. You know, I never thought in 2025 I'd be seeing Manny Pacquiao in an actual boxing match. I thought, you know, maybe he was retiring, exhibitions, but no, he's coming out, man. He's gonna try for it. I can't be mad at him. I mean, B-Hop did it at a older age, won a title. So I mean, shout out to Manny Pacquiao for trying to be great, man. But at the same time,
a champion emeritus may request an immediate challenge to a WBC world champion in his division. The rule states, effectively clearing the way for Pacquiao to step back into the spotlight. Sulaiman, clearly anticipating the backlash, invoked the memory of Sugar Ray Leonard's 1987 comeback win over Marvin Hagler as a precedent for allowing older fighters to pursue championship glory. Remember Sugar Ray Leonard? Sulaiman wrote, "My father, Jose Sulaiman, and the WBC were criticized for making his fight versus Hagler. Manny Pacquiao has been licensed by Nevada and passed all medicals, and as a legendary WBC champion, has been approved to fight by our organization. Let's talk on July 20th. For Sulaiman and the WBC, this is not just about nostalgia or sentimentality. It's about the business of boxing, about the power of a name like Pacquiao to draw fans and generate revenue.
Let's talk Manny Pacquiao. Listen, you've covered a lot of Manny Pacquiao's career. Been out to the Philippines with the man and followed him around the gaff and been around the big ones. He is a superstar, there's no doubt about that. He is a hero to the people of the Philippines. He has been retired for 4 years. He called time on his career 4 years ago to concentrate on a political career. It is, I believe, the vote for the Filipino Senate on Monday. In my opinion,
it's a decision that cuts to the heart of what boxing is in 2025. A sport where spectacle often outweighs safety, where legends are encouraged to roll the dice one last time. Not everyone in Pacquiao's corner is worried, though. Justin Fortune, his longtime strength and conditioning coach, remains optimistic about the Filipinos' chances. Fortune, who has worked with Pacquiao for nearly 60 fights, recently downplayed concerns about his fighter's age and inactivity. Pacquiao is still strong, fast, and very experienced, Fortune said in a recent interview. He acknowledged that the fight against Barrios won't be easy, but he believes Pacquiao still has the physical tools to compete at a high level. For Fortune, the key to Pacquiao's success lies in his legendary speed and power, assets that have set him apart from his peers for decades.
Around looking for fights. You've been retired and you come back and they give him a title fight. 46 years old, Blake. And this man is getting a title fight.
Giovanni Cabrera, a lightweight fighter who has trained alongside Pacquiao, echoed Fortune's confidence. In a recent interview, Cabrera emphasized that Pacquiao's unique style, particularly his ability to land sharp, awkward punches from unpredictable angles, makes him a dangerous opponent at any age. For most conventional fighters, it doesn't matter who you are or how old you are, Cabrera said. When Manny Pacquiao slides in and connects with the left, it's something hard to deal with.
I know you said the first thing that came out of your mouth, you said it came out of retirement, is I can take 4 years off and get a title shot right out the gate. You want to talk about you want to speak on that?
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, come on, man. You've been out the game, retired. You haven't just been sitting around looking for fights.
Still, even within Pacquiao's extended boxing family, there are voices of caution. Amir Khan, who has sparred with Mario Barrios, recently advised Pacquiao to be careful against the younger, physically prime opponent. Khan, who knows firsthand the dangers of facing a hard-hitting welterweight, warned that Barrios' youth and athleticism could pose a serious challenge. If they were in their prime, I would say Pac-Man would win, Khan admitted. But this could be a tricky fight for him.
Boxing legend Manny Pacquiao is ending his nearly 4-year retirement to fight Mario Barrios for the WBC Welterweight Championship on July 19th in Las Vegas, according to the Bleacher Report. The bout will be available via PBC on Prime Video.
There is also a broader skepticism about Barrios as a legitimate champion. Some critics have dismissed his title reign as the product of convenient timing, pointing out that he became champion in a division left open after Terence Crawford's move up in weight. His first title defense against Abel Ramos, which took place on the Tyson-Paul card, was a close affair, one that did little to silence his doubters. For these critics, Barrios is a paper champion, a fighter who lacks the resume to be considered a true threat at 147 pounds.
Now, can Manny Pacquiao beat a 29-year-old Mario Barrios? Well, that takes me back to the Keith Thurman fight that Pacquiao had in 2019. I didn't think he could beat Thurman. The only chance I gave him was slim, and that was because Thurman was coming up.
But even if Barrios is not viewed as a top-tier champion, he still represents a significant risk for Pacquiao. The 29-year-old, who will celebrate his 30th birthday just weeks before the fight, is hungry, powerful, and eager to make a statement against a living legend. Tim Bradley, a man who shared the ring with Manny Pacquiao 3 times, has weighed in on the Filipino icon's comeback. Speaking to Chris Mannix, Bradley didn't shy away from expressing his concerns about the risky nature of Pacquiao's return. For Bradley, it's not just about the thrill of a comeback, it's about the very real dangers of stepping into the ring against a younger, hungrier fighter like Mario Barrios.
So basically, your interpretation is that the boxing public is upset because they believe Pacquiao's going to beat Barrios, which is going to lead to a Tank Pacquiao fight?
Yes, look around. Look in the Discord. That's what everybody, Pac and Tank, that's being set up.
Oh,
Tank
so,
and Pac.
okay, so they saying Barrios is the setup for Tank and Pac. I didn't see that, but your argument makes sense.
Barrios is no slouch, Bradley said, emphasizing the physical and technical challenges the 46-year-old Pacquiao will face. Barrios is a young fighter, a bigger fighter, knows how to control the distance very well, can punch a little bit, like it's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. Bradley, who knows firsthand the intensity of sharing a ring with Pacquiao, suggested that the former 8-division champion might be taking one risk too many. He pointed to the brutal nature of the sport, where legends often need to be beaten down multiple times before finally walking away. Sometimes these old legends gotta get beat up several times before they call it quits, he added, reflecting on Pacquiao's last official bout, a disappointing loss to Yordenis Ugas, as possibly not being the definitive ending Pacquiao needed.
Manny Pacquiao, getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, definitely has to do with money, 1. 2, I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter.
For Bradley, the danger is clear. Barrios has the youth, power, and size to potentially retire Pacquiao for good, sending a clear message that even the greatest champions can't outrun time forever. For Pacquiao, this comeback is not just about reclaiming a title, but about proving that he still has the fire and the ability to compete at the highest level. As the fight draws closer, the debate will only intensify. It's clear that fans will continue to argue over whether this comeback is a final act of brilliance or a misguided attempt to recapture past glory. But for Pacquiao, the only thing that matters is what happens in the ring on July 19th, a chance to silence his critics, defy the odds, and perhaps, against all logic, add one more remarkable chapter to his storied career. Well, what do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.